I want to talk about some wild new ideas for solutions that we all face. Um, we know that corporations and the wealthy are shitting all over us, and that they're buying the politicians, and uh, basically, doing this pseudo legitimacy through bribery, which is nothing more than basically they're doing pyramid schemes, extortion, so basically organized crime and con man things, and this is supposed to be the government, and you have the plutocrats, and you got the corporations doing all of this. And so, this is something I've been asking myself for years: is why keep funneling money to these criminals, whether they be politicians or businesses. So that's why I have the title BDS Gone Wild and Venture Progressive Action. And so, let's talk about how the unions have been basically been being utterly attacked, and a very hard push to basically destroy unions. But this is something, as I said, this is something I've been thinking about, and the answer seems fairly simple. And I think that we know that progressives and moderate leaning liberals, left leaning liberals, uh, who are on the cusp of being between centrist and left liberalism. I think the polls and everything else that we vastly outnumber all the other insane members of our false democracy. And so I think this is one way to tackle and get democracy back, and to give ourselves the power and the resources and the is to do a BDS, but don't just BDS Israel, BDS the corporations. Stop 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 feeding Wells Fargo. Stop feeding Bank of America. Stop feeding Citibank and all those. Just like uh, just as how as unions collect dues, uh, and the progressive candidates are getting funded in small donations, so they can run for office. I think we should take an example of that, and then also an example of what the Amish do when one of their community members has a home or barn or something gets either damaged or burned down. They get together and build up. And I think we should take a tactic like that. But I think we should do is start and this kind of goes along with you have those GoFundMe funds and so on and so forth. Well, let's do a GoFund progressive action, where we set up almost like how the DNC and so how the Democratic Party and the GOP do it, using super PACs and all sorts of other stuff. And I'm sure there's got to be ways that we can do something like that. But instead of doing it for a political party, we do it as a we do it as where the money is collected, and what it is it's used to fund people who want to start up a restaurant or a coffee shop, um, or they want to make whatever project they want to do. Uh, it would we would kind of act like a non-bank bank, but it's directed towards people with progressive values and moderately leaning left. Uh, and those people come in and come in and say, "This is what I want. This is what I'd like to do," and we supply the money for people. So if you have a project that you have in mind, you have an idea for you get in there, you get it, and there's a straight 5% uh, return interest. Um, or it doesn't even have to be considered interest because that might touch upon banking regulations. So it's a voluntary 5% return to continue funding the venture progressive action fund. I don't know what we could call it, but we do that, and we make this a nationwide thing, and we have it set up so that starting from your local communities and spreading out all through your states, and so on and so forth, and we have websites, and then we can make it so that if you live in Pennsylvania, you go click on Pennsylvania like I do, and then you would be able to narrow it down to where you live, and so and then you would have there would be an office, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an office. It could just be somebody who's a salaried person who works for the fund, and so and that home could be the person just meets up with the people and who are looking to get to get money to start a business, and that person would talk and then figure out what will and there'd be a whole team of people, and they would figure out how much it would cost to start the business, or what would be required, and basically and not require people to jump through hurdles like understanding about marketing or accounting and all that other stuff. So and this would also help people who have skills in marketing, who have skills in accounting, who have skills in engineering, who have skills in electrical work, and so we could tie this in with small businesses like your electricians, small independent electricians, independent plumbers, independent you know home repair. So all of this. So it doesn't just necessarily have to be for new businesses. It could also be for small independent businesses to be able to get money, and you could tie this all into a network, and so we could grow grow the amount of money, and we could start defunding. So it could be independent farms. It could be, you get the point. So you do all this, and what ends up happening is, and when you offer, when you and what you do is you make sure, uh, resources, and the main resource would be people. Understand? So you know, people that donate would be on a list in the regional areas, and then they would get priority for jobs and job training. And the other thing is, you would want to include job training. So you can fund job training and all sorts of other stuff. So you set up an entire network, and you could put out people. You could put out a business, Waffle House, which is starting to show a consistency and an atrocious behavior by calling police upon people and being rather violent with them. You could put Starbucks out of business. We could put Walmart out of business. All sorts of things, and so I think it's a great idea to do this, because let's face it, the banks, the big banks, and Wall Street, and all they seem to be doing is stealing, blatantly and brazenly stealing, and they're blatantly and brazenly doing Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. Why use these when we can defund them? I think that's the way to go. So, well, that's it. If anybody sees this, please leave me a comment. I'd like to see what you think of the idea. I personally think it's a brilliant idea, and it cuts through a lot of red tape and gives us a base, and also adds, the other thing is we could even set up a coffer for, a division coffer for putting progressive candidates into office by getting them the money, and then so they can run a campaign, and they can be competitive, so that more people can see the message the progressive candidates putting out. I think this covers a lot of things. It gives us it helps us build up small businesses, and this also gives people initiative, and gives us the initiative, and helps us, as the conservative like to say, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. Well, that's exactly what we would be doing. And so, and this would give us a standing that can't be ignored, and that and must be taken seriously. So, as I said, if you have any comments or thoughts about this, feel free to leave comments. I'd like to see what they are. All right, thanks.